Good morning, trade pros. Welcome to our morning market update today. Holy moly, the camera needs a little adjustment. This should do it. I hope you're having a great start to the week and a great morning. And I hope you had a great weekend. And I hope it was refreshing. And I hope that you're recharged because we got a lot coming up this week. But then not a ton, but we got a lot of market movement because things are shaping up for some really high macro event contribution to the rally in the market. Okay, so here's the headline: markets rally on shutdown progress and China thaw. I like the word China thaw. I thought it would be cool to include that in some way. But global equities are up this morning. S&P is up 1%. Nasdaq's up 1.5%. Russell's up 1.1%. And Euro stocks up 1.7, nearly 2% rally. So things are up pretty big in the overnight session. Gold is up 2% and above 4,000 yet again. Bitcoin is up 4.5%. Great to see Bitcoin up. And Ethereum is up 7% as well. Bitcoin's really been anchored to the shutdown in the government quite a bit. I've noticed that in the recent couple weeks of price action. It's been interesting to see. More than other assets, I would say. All right, dollar index down 0.2%, and we're on risk on tone at the moment, as you know the U.S. government shutdown deal is advancing in its bill form, and I think it's proving that the government may reopen. All right, and then U.S. and China tensions are easing, so it's two really good positive developments that have happened here over the weekend that have pushed the market into a strong gap upwards into the reopen for the futures yesterday. All right. So here's the macro and U.S. headlines. And then I'm going to go through then tariffs and some market impact things very briefly. Then I'm going to turn around and I'll open up the chart. And together we will create the trading plan for the day. All right. And we're going to review what happened last week. And I did really good to end the week last week. So that's fantastic news. I'm going to carry that momentum this week after kind of struggling Wednesday and Thursday. All right. So what's up in the headlines? U.S. Senate passes funding bill 60-40. So 8 Democrats cross over from their party, and they're trying to get funding extended through at least January. And then, these Democrats will probably push for their health care bill to be included in future talks. So it's looking like a shorter term deal, but it's very important that the government reopens, especially with flight demand and air travel, about the surge for the holidays. And traffic controllers overworked, and there's the term underpaid, and then there's a term not paid at all, right? So they're not underpaid and overworked. They're just not paid and overworked. And a lot of them went to get second jobs just to pay the bills, and they didn't show up to work, which created, a lack of air traffic controllers and really big, safety risks in aviation. Now, there was a freighter or UPS freight airplane. I can't talk today. There's a UPS freight plane that crashed last week, right? And we don't know the story there yet, but it would be interesting to see how it comes out in terms of the cause of it, right? Was it air control related? We don't know, but they have kind of pinned it to the attachment or the mount, the pylon of the engine, the rear pylon of the engine that came loose. Similar to another accident in the 70s. So anyways, I digress a lot. I'm kind of, really deep into the news headlines here. Let's shift it back to what's going to impact the market. Okay, so this Senate passing the funding bill is the first step to reopening the government. If the government reopens, there's going to be a tsunami of buying getting unleashed right into peak holiday season, where there's peak optimism and market sentiment is really strong in this seasonal period. You got Thanksgiving coming up, then Good Friday. Then you have Cyber Monday, then you have Christmas, then you have the New Year, then you have everyone happy and everything is going good. So it's the season of celebration and being with family and spending money and not worrying about it until January. That's the season that's coming up. So it's going to push stocks higher, and the government reopening in this period, it has bottlenecked a lot of money from the Treasury sitting on the sidelines that will get deployed. That's going to stimulate liquidity in the market. Consumers are going to start buying. We have a really good potential upward bullish period in the market. that takes the S&P through 7,000. But first, the government must reopen to help start this trend off in a positive light. All right. Treasury Secretary Bessent says inflation progress continues, and he hints at a possible tariff dividend via tax cuts. So it'd be up to $2,000 per U.S. citizen who had under a certain income threshold. I don't know what that income threshold is. They haven't announced it, but it would be kind of short of helicopter money. They're not going to give you $2,000 checks, but they will provide a tax cut for the fact that they've collected so much tariffs. So, that's kind of got the consumer excited as well for the holiday and that tax cut coming in April of next year. All right, we got a couple Fed speakers. Fed's Williams warns that the widening wealth gap could influence December rate cut decision, which would be supportive of a rate cut. We have that. A Fed survey lists AI and policy uncertainty as top financial stability risks heading into this quarter, or ending this quarter rather. And Boeing grounds all MD-11 freighters after the crash. UPS and FedEx follow. So that's not good news. In the tariff and trade front, a couple positive actions have taken place this morning. U.S. suspends Section 301 against China's shipbuilding and logistics sector, which is huge. For 1 year, they've suspended it. All right. And China responds in kind by lifting sanctions on U.S.-linked firms and suspends export bans on key materials like gallium and germanium, materials we need in our life every day that we don't know about. You don't need to eat it, but it's in everything, all electronics. All right, so here we are. China's responded, U.S. responded. At the end of the day, all that really matters here is that it's a de-escalation tone. This is all the market cares about. If I could summarize everything I've said so far in one sentence, government shutdown looks like it's going to end soon, and China-U.S. tensions are de-escalating, positive. All right, the market impact is risk is on. The appetite for risk is jumping. All right, and I think that's led by the shutdown optimism. So let's see what happens. We have a window today and tomorrow where the shutdown could end, but I think now that it's baked into this rally, I think any updates that are against that happening could lead to a lot of selling in the market. So we're kind of at a very anxious, careful territory, despite the fact it's bullish. Okay, commodities are up. WTI is up 0.7%. Copper is up 1 full percentage point. All right, Bitcoin back above 106,000. Ethereum 3.6K. All right, and that's that. Okay, let's turn around. My face got so freaking itchy at the end there. Let's turn around and let's draw some levels and make a plan for today's session. All right, let's do it. And we're going to get active on the trade front. Let me move this camera now, because we don't really need it. David, I saw that, and I thank you for your trust, and I'll see you there today. Right after this, I'll see you in the room. It would be my pleasure to kind of update you or introduce you to Victorio Fadi, everyone else as well in the trading room team. It's amazing. Thank you for your trust. I know there's a million options you have with trading communities these days. It's really grown and exploded, and I value you for choosing us. Turkey time. Absolutely. MS, I hope you're good too. Let's get into the today. Let's look at it this way. It's a little bit better. All right. So what have we done? Well, here's the open on Friday, okay? And Friday, we drove much lower to new lows. And, we 66.55 half was that low on Friday's session. Things down here did not look good. All right, they did not look promising. And this was around... what the heck is going on? Why? Let me just delete everything. This was around the morning time, late morning. All right, that this occurred. Hang on, guys. Are you seeing the Streamlabs here? Okay, hold on. All right. That's a weird keystrokes sequence. Let me just bring Streamlabs down here. All right. So this occurred then at chart values crosshair. This occurred at 12:01, right at noon. Okay, it was important I told you that. So at noon, we get jammed up in the lows here of the week and of this entire cycle lower. It's brought us down from 6,900 to 6,600, about 300 points lower on the sell-off. All right. So that ends up marking the low around noontime, and we rebound. And we rebound not just to the open, which erases a 70-point drop. Okay, we erased 70-point drop. Not only that, but we also managed to rally upwards to 67.53, which is plus 30 points on the day for a Friday. Now, we know heading into the weekend on a Friday low, we know that there's going to be a rebound early next week. All right, so yes, you have to hold over the weekend. Is that a buying opportunity? You know, to me it is. I've played with the strategy of buying the end of week lows for a recovery and rebound the next week, and it works pretty good. Just the times that it doesn't work good, the sell-offs are pretty nasty. So yes, we were kind of already alerted of the fact we're going to have some upside maybe to start the week, but the prior day close was higher than the open on Friday and way higher than the low that was formed. So this right here creates bullish sentiment on its own. All right, then we open up overnight and we gap up significantly. So we jump up to 67.22. That's like, you know, that's a pretty significant gap. I'll have to zoom in to show you that gap, okay? And maybe I will. There you go. This is the prior day close, which to me is the cash close. PDCC's prior day cash close, cash sessions at 4:15. So you have 45 minutes up until 5 where the market really closes, where this is where you got that extra rally from the close. All right. There's a reason, a very specific reason I use the prior day cash close. I won't go into it, but to me, that's the most important level on the close. All right. That's the close. So that's the cash, aka settlement close. That's part of the reason. All right. So then we go up to 67.65, which forms the high of Friday. And now you have the prior day low, prior day high. This is the range of the U.S. session of Friday. All right. And then we gap up from 65. We open up into the, you know, almost 90. So 87, 88 area. I don't know exactly where. It looks like 88. All right. So that's a 25-point gap. We close the gap immediately overnight, and we rally up to the overnight high of 23.5. So all this is to say that the tone is bullish, and this gap has already kind of closed more or less, not fully. But I know people look for gap closes. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Overnight high rallies up into the 23. So yes, we've de-escalated a lot with China and the U.S. situation. We've put a bill on the floor that could lead to the government being reopened, but we're also up a lot. All right, we're also up a lot for that. It's not like all this has happened and the market hasn't rallied. The market is priced in. This rally that you're seeing is the pricing in. PI, not private investigator. If the private investigator is coming for you, it can't help you. The market's priced in all this positivity already. So what could go wrong type of open, right? If anything changes or the bill fails, you kind of have already a built-in sell to into the market, right? That would come as a result of that. The trading strategy for today is, I got to show you the other screen now before we fully kind of go in and stake it. All right, the trading strategy for today is to see how much more upside we can get. And I think the cap to this upside ends up coming in here at the around 50 to 60 level. Ultimately, if you look at it on a weekly chart, we could get all the way to 68.80. That's a huge rally. I don't think we get there today. But at least on today's session, you know, you have some value areas that are forming around here. And towards the top of the value area ends up being the 45, 49 area. I would call it even the 50. Okay, that's as far as I go into this chart. I'm not like a super crazy volume profile guy. All right, I think there's better info to find levels. But it's still useful. So, okay. So, I mean, that's nice. We have the 50. Why is the 50 meaningful and significant on these charts? Well, if you look at it here, our two levels here. So we've already captured that data. We have two prior peaks. Okay, so that 50 is already captured. And we have quite a bit of lows that held out before the dump. So, yeah, 50 is a great level to target. So, basically, we have from where we are now 35 points of upside with a lot of points of downside. So, this brings us ultimately to the trading opportunity of the day. All right. I like longs. I like pullback longs, but remember, I'm an order flow trader. So I like order flow patterns more than I like levels, but I really like good order flow patterns at order flow levels. At good levels, I mean good structure levels. I don't. I like 65 to 70. I think we come in here as a sell-off and see what happens down there. I also like 6,800. So 6,800 to this area here would be the long that I'm looking for. All right, and anything below there, we start to kind of break that structure, and we'd have to kind of look at where the news is at for a move lower into the 67.30, and then 67.10 ultimately here is really, really big support. So that's kind of the play that I'm looking for. Don't chase it today. I think this market is setting up and trying to get you to chase it. Don't chase it. All right, look for the opportunities and look for the pullbacks. And you got to stay glued to the news wire today. You got to be listening to news, because one little news update could throw the whole day into a tizzy. And you could be there with a long position and things dumping and you're wondering why. Don't do that. Stay on top of the news today. A news tape bomb about the shutdown could move and whipsaw this market 50 to 100 points to either direction. All right. I love you guys so much. Dave, I'll see you in the room, buddy. Welcome aboard. And anyone who is listening to these morning market updates and want to check us out, head on over to TradeProAcademy.com. All right. If you're not going to do that, then I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. again for another morning market update. Love you guys so much. Thank you. And careful today, but enjoy the day. I'm going to start out trading smaller. Not smaller, but I'm going to trade out less frequent. Like I'm looking for 2 to 3 trades. Normally I look for up to 5 on order flow, but 2 to 3 is good enough. All right, if I get one really good one, I'll be happy, as I'll be gone and going to play hockey at 11:30 today. So looking to get something in the book and get off the desk, out of the desk, out of the office. I don't sit on my desk. Take care, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Love y'all. And again, have a great rest of your day. Let's do this. We're starting a new week. OTM, you're most welcome. Hopefully it was helpful for you. You found value in it. I'll see you here again tomorrow. Goodbye, guys.